All right, let's talk about the literary analysis essay. You know, that assignment that can sometimes feel a little intimidating. But what if I told you it's not really about being a perfect writer? It's actually more about being a good detective. So today, we're going to crack the code together.
So you get that assignment packet, right? You flip through the pages, and it's thick. Your first thought is probably, whoa, where do I even start with this? And hey, that's a totally normal feeling. A big stack of paper like that can look like a lot to handle.
But here's the thing you got to realize. That packet, it isn't your enemy. It's actually your secret weapon. It's a roadmap. Every single instruction, every single step on there is a clue that leads you straight to an awesome essay. So our mission today, we're going to follow that map.
Okay, so first things first, every great mission starts with knowing what you're supposed to do. So our first stop is decoding the prompt to figure out what the essay is actually asking for.
Let's break down the basics. It's a typed, 4-paragraph essay. Pretty standard. You're going to look at 2 different short stories, and you're going to connect them through one single central theme. And, of course, the big ones, you've got to use strong evidence from the text and keep your writing style formal. Seems straightforward enough, right?
Now listen up, because this sentence right here, this is everything. This is your mission in a nutshell. Notice that word analyze? You're not just retelling the stories. You're being a detective. The theme is the case, and your job is to use the stories as your evidence to prove whether that case holds up or not. That's the huge difference between just summarizing and actually analyzing.
So, with our mission crystal clear, it's time to draw up the blueprint. And I'm not kidding when I say this planning phase is probably the most important step of all. A good plan makes the actual writing part about 1,000 times easier.
And guess what? Your assignment packet gives you the perfect tool for the job, the graphic organizer. This is step 2 in the process, and trust me, it is an absolute game changer. It's where you get all your thoughts and all your evidence organized before you even think about writing full sentences.
Just look at the planner for the introduction paragraph. See how it breaks it down into pieces? You start with a hook, something to grab your reader's attention. Then, you introduce the stories you're talking about. And you end with the single most important sentence in your entire essay, the thesis statement.
So what is this all-important thesis? Well, think of it like a promise you're making to your reader. It's the one sentence that clearly states, hey, this is the argument I'm going to prove in this essay. It's your claim, the engine that drives everything else.
And here's a perfect example from your packet of what that looks like. See how it connects 2 totally different stories, the lottery and the story of an hour, to one big idea about social expectations? It's specific, it's arguable, that is exactly what you're aiming for.
All right, the blueprint is solid. Now it's time for the build. This next part is all about getting those ideas down on paper. That's the drafting. And then shaping them into a really strong argument. That's the revising.
Now, step 3 might feel a little old school, but there's a really good reason for it. Hand write your rough draft. Seriously, doing it by hand helps you just focus. You can get all your ideas out on the page without getting bogged down by typos or formatting. This is just about building the core of your argument.
Okay, once that draft is down, you move on to step 4, the 4 highlighter method. This is such a cool way to check your own work. You assign a color to each key part of your essay, your thesis, your quotes, your analysis, your signal phrases, and you can see right there on the page if you have all the ingredients you need.
So that pink highlighter is for signal phrases, and this can be a little tricky, but really all it is the words you use to introduce a quote. You know, instead of just dropping a quote out of nowhere, you lead into it smoothly with something like, the narrator reveals that, or as the character explains that. It makes a huge difference in how your essay flows.
We've built the structure, we've got the pieces in place. Now for the final stage, the polish. This is where we use a little outside help to turn a good essay into a truly great one.
And that brings us right to step 5, peer conferencing. Let's be real. When you've been staring at your own essay for hours, your brain starts to fill in the blanks. Getting a classmate to read it gives you a fresh pair of eyes. They'll catch stuff, weird sentences, missing words that you've become totally blind to.
Now, here's the golden rule for when you're giving and getting feedback. You have to explain how the quote proves your thesis. Don't just restate what the quote says in different words. The real magic, the analysis, is in answering the question, so what? Why does this piece of evidence matter to my main argument?
Your pure editing checklist is full of good stuff, but these 4 questions are huge. Is the thesis where it's supposed to be at the end of the intro? Is every quote actually explained? Does everything, and I mean everything, in the essay help support that main thesis?
Oh, and a little pro tip, always talk about literature in the present tense.
So once you've got all that great feedback from your partner and you've made your revisions, you are on the home stretch. Step 6 is the victory lap. It's time to type up that polished, final draft, make sure it looks good, and submit your masterpiece.
So what's the big takeaway here? It's that the process is your power. When you follow these steps, when you decode, plan, draft, and polish, you're not just checking boxes on an assignment, you are learning how to build a powerful, convincing argument from the ground up.
That assignment packet isn't just a boring list of rules. It's a toolkit. It gives you the structure you need so that your own awesome ideas can shine through. So the only real question left is, what powerful story is your essay going to tell? Now go get started.